Hey nerds, we're a little over halfway through the year, and Wizards has already released 220 new commanders and 9 sets. So, as is tradition, I'll be giving you my top 10 commanders of 2024 so far. These aren't listed in power order, but how fun they were to play with or against. Also, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss my end of year top 10 video. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 is Voja, Jaws of the Conclave. Now, there was a ton of online discourse about how busted this commander is, and I just disagree with it. Now, I have no doubt Voja is incredibly powerful, and Ward 3 is a lot of mana, but there are plenty of ways around it, most notably board wipes, helps keep this wolf in check. Now, in the games I've played against it, I've enjoyed deciding whether to use my interaction on it, if I wasn't the threat, or if I'd allow them to build up a big board, take out my opponents, and then come in with a sweeper. Honestly, I just enjoyed the play pattern along with the flavor of Voja, and I enjoy seeing it pop off. Just not when it's swinging at me, which is why it's coming in at number 10. Number 9 on this list is Judith Carnage Carnosaur. This Rakdos Spellslinger commander was an absolute house to play with and against. My friend has an Obosh the Prey Piercer companion list that does absolute work. The restriction of only using odd spells was great since it prevented defaulting to a storm win condition. Both Grapeshot and Tendrils of Agony are even mana values. You could still win using Storm, using Crackling Spellslinger and Ignite Memories, but those weren't in the list. Now, generally, the deck won with good old-fashioned burn, and controlled the board by running cheap board wipes that they'd give Death Touch. Now, if Judith was removed too much, then the deck didn't really function, which is why it's coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Caesar's Legion's Emperor. Say what you want about Universes Beyond, the commander decks are usually solid and fun. Now, I've mostly played against the stock Caesar list, and every time I've blown away. This deck can pump out a massive army of tokens while keeping their hand full with cards like Skull Clamp and Caesar's Ability. Now, I love that this deck has a straightforward game plan that you can execute whether you're new to Magic or you've been playing for 10 plus years. If I had to upgrade the deck, I would add more Impact Tremor style effects, Goblin Bombardment, and Raid Bombardment to help close out games. Coming in at number 7 is Azlask the Swelling Scourge. It shouldn't be a surprise my most recent deck tech is on this list. I've loved Eldrazi since Worldwake, and I've wanted to build Eldrazi for a long time, but I don't really like any of the colorless options. There's the other 5-color Eldrazi that came in this precon, but that one didn't really interest me. I like taking our little Scions and Spawn tokens, pumping them up, and then annihilating our opponent's mana bases. Also, this deck is really easy to build on a budget, since Scion and Spawn creatures are really cheap, and I also included Marin and Azuri to add experience counters. I'm not going to spoil the whole deck, but make sure to check out that video after watching this one. I want to put Azlask higher, however, I can't justify putting a commander I've only played twice in the top 5. So, at number 7 it sits. And coming in at number 6 is Laughing Jasper Flint. Now, if you're looking for a fun theft deck, well, Jasper's your lizard. Now, maybe I'm an awful friend, but I enjoy stealing my friends' cards and seeing what broken interactions I can come up with cards outside of my color. Some of my favorite hits have been Exploration, Heuristic Study, and Esper Sentinel. The hardest thing about Jasper is keeping him alive. Now, unlike Bant decks, we have limited protection in black. Most of the protection spells I run are cards like Not Dead After All, Malakir Rebirth, and Fake Your Own Death. Also, Gev was just released, which is great in this deck, and Laughing Jasper Flint's also great in a Gev deck. Number 5 is Kost, Eyes of the Glade. If you don't know this commander, I'm not going to be surprised. This is the Naya face commander from the Murders at Karlov Manor precons. You know, the one that cares about morph and disguise creatures. My friends tend to brew pretty fun decks, which is part of the reason why I'm friends with them, and Kost is one of them. This is a much more interesting commander than Kadena Slinking Sorcerer. Now, the biggest issue my friend had when he first played the deck was a lack of win conditions, so he added a Pyrotechnic Performer Infinite combo in. The combo works like this. You have Eudora Gravegardener, Pyrotechnic Performer, and a sack outlet, usually Ashnod's Altar, in play. You sack Pyrotechnic Performer to Ashnod's Altar, adding 2 colorless, and then when it dies, it comes back as a forest face down. Now you can tap that forest for red if you have a way of having lands tap for any color, like Chromatic Lantern or Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and then you flip Pyrotechnic Performer face up for 1 red. It'll deal 3 damage to each opponent, and then you sacrifice it, it comes back as a forest, tap it for red, and you keep doing that over and over again until you win the game. Coming in at number 4 is Shil Gengar, Sire of Famine. I just thought it was another boring sack commander, until my friend and I realized we can blink the creatures we return from the graveyard to remove the finality counters. So instead, we built Shil Gengar as Orzhov Blink. I actually have that deck tech also on this channel, which you should check out after this. The idea is simple though. We play creatures at ETB, we sacrifice them to Shil Gengar's ability, and then we use that second ability to return all of them into play, and then we use blink effects to remove the finality counters. Unlike Azalisk, we've actually played quite a few games with this commander, which is why it's coming in at number 4. Number 3 is Mr. House, President, and CEO. Rolling dice just fills my brain with the happy chemicals, and winning dice rolls give me even more happy chemicals, so it really shouldn't be a surprise that the dice commander from the year makes it on this list. If you'd asked me before Outlaws of Thunder Junction was released, I'd have said Mr. House was easily number 1 on my list, but somehow 2 commanders came in and grabbed my number 1 and number 2 spots respectively. Now, with that said, I love being able to play cards like Deck of Many Things, Wand of Wonder, and Comet Stellar Pup. You should make sure to check out my deck tech on Mr. House as well. Coming in at number 2 is Taiwa Keen Perfect Shot. I'm actually surprised about this commander. When I did my fun ranking for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, I was really low on this card. Thank God I was wrong. It turns out this commander is both fun and powerful, and is really easy to build on a budget. It's a combo-focused commander that provides you with a ton of card draw and a win condition from the command zone, and it's only 2 mana. Its play pattern is unique since you want to gift your opponents with tokens and then blow them up for value. If you don't enjoy combo decks, maybe avoid Tai, but honestly, you should give this commander a shot, pun definitely intended. Also, check out my Tai deck tech after watching all the other ones I've mentioned before. And coming in at number 1 is the Gitrog Ravenous Ride. Now, if you know me in real life or have followed my content for some amount of time, you should know that I love Golgari. More specifically, I actually love the Gitrog monster. It was my first landfall commander years ago, and it's held a special place in my heart ever since. So when I saw this new Gitrog that was back in the Golgari colors, not riding around with Thalia on its back, I was so excited to build it. This is actually my 3rd Golgari deck. I have Babalas Saga, and I have a Tormod and Kamal partner deck, which I also have videos on. Now, I enjoy the saddle mechanic, especially when it involves drawing cards and then ramping. Plus, I can jam some of the random equipment I have laying around to get the occasional commander damage win. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite commander of 2024 is so far. Also, give this video a like if you liked it, a dislike if you didn't, and make sure to subscribe. A lot of my viewers aren't, and it's an easy way to help out the channel, and you can ring that bell to get notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. Speaking of videos, make sure to check out some of the ones shown on screen here. Alrighty nerds, I'll see you in the next one.